All right. Welcome, Speed Gaming in the afternoon, at least for those of you in the US. My name is Tracy M. We have the Super Metroid multi category tournament week 2 between jooniejoone and crossproduct. With me today is Apathy Duck. How are you doing, Duck?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Looking forward to a nice quick run because we are doing GT Classic today.
Yeah, this is a pretty fun category. Basically, the way this works is there's a kind of a debug code that was left in the game. Found a couple years ago. I'm not exactly sure when it was found, but basically you push all the face buttons. If you go backwards into the Golden Chorizo room, it gives you items in the game. It gives you, and it's like a set amount of like missile supers and power bombs. Um, So basically, the strategy in this is to beeline there as fast as possible, pick that up, and then you can uh, complete the rest of the game from there. And you sort of just do the rest of the bosses in order on the way up. So you have to beat Kraid to get Various Suit because otherwise you won't have enough E-tanks to get down there. And then you'll just come up, do Ridley, Dragon, and then Phantoon. So it's a pretty quick run. You get to see a lot of interesting strats because you have all the items. It's kind of like people like Hundo because you have all those movement items and there's a lot of cool strats. And this is kind of like the faster way of doing that, where you still have all the items, can still do all the cool strats, but you don't need to get literally every item in the game, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's kind of hundo without the hundo, without the pickup and without the fanfares.
Yeah.
And we are off. So just to talk about these runners a little bit, Junie is the 35th seed with a PB in GT Classic of 38.59. Cross Product, the 51st seed with a PB in this category of 43.44. Cross Product, both of these guys coming to us from Randomizer. Cross Product is pretty famous for Randomizer and pretty famous for doing a lot of, shall we say, weird but legal strats.
Yeah, Cross knows all the really corrupt stuff
Yeah.
in this game. There's always one in every game that there's a guy that just knows all the ridiculous stuff to do.
Yep, and then Cross
Cross is
Product as well.
definitely, yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely. We were talking before about Cross that he's definitely better than his times. He spent so much time playing randomizer that he just hasn't put the amount of runs in necessary to lower them. So I mean, we could see a PB from him easily here.
Oh, for sure. All right, of course, all our categories, as usual, start out with the Sears station. So let's see how they do coming out of here. Yeah, one of the interesting parts about GT Classic is that it's a very dangerous run up front. And then once you get that GT code put in, then it becomes a very safe run. And it's kind of a fun one, too, as you get having all the items for all the bosses in all the areas.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different. So generally, you'll see pretty much everyone's. I expect both these guys to skip charge because you don't need it at all. But there's like you can skip the high jump and the energy
Hmm.
tank at high jump to get down to Norfair. But it's pretty dangerous. Doing the high jumpless lava dive is pretty difficult, and then you have one less E tank too. Although you can also just dip in to get that E tank and just skip high jump. So it's an interesting category to see like how much some players want to push it.
Yep.
It's also that lava dive makes it pretty dangerous. You can die there, and you can potentially reset. And then you got to do a green gate glitch for only five supers, less if you're again if
Yeah.
you don't like fill up. A lot of runners will stop at some bugs to fill up to make sure they have 5 attempts at it. You can also save right before, so there's a couple of safe things you can do. But it's a tricky. It's a one frame trick. I'm pretty sure. So it's a potential run ender right there. So we might see a couple saves right before they go down the lower Norfair elevator. So like especially in a setting, there's a bunch of interesting things you can do depending on how much you want to push it, how safe you want to be.
Yeah, in a race setting, I suspect we'll see a lot of saves in this category right before they go down that lower Norfair elevator because of that green gate glitch. Because there is absolutely nothing you can farm that's going to reliably give you super missiles in that area. So a lot of runners are going to do that. Now, if you're going to do an actual run, that's just usually the run killer. You miss the green gate glitch and you reset. So
Yeah, for a PB attempts, no one was going to save or get the super unless in like your first couple runs that you just want to get through one. But generally, you're just going to try to.
and getting that all important morph ball, the item that you absolutely have to have to beat this game in any setting.
Eh,
Let's And I was gonna say, unless there's some hack out there that, or the really fast any percent with all the glitches. I don't believe
Uh,
it picks up
it's
anything, but that's like a, a few minute run.
it's funny because even 0% gets it, and then they like do some weird like reset thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty important. There's really no way around picking up more fall. Pretty much, you're pretty locked in these first couple. That is a. I have not seen that construction zone exit strat. That
Yeah,
is
that was really
interesting.
neat. A little bit of a wall jump up through that one little hole. I like that. So Junie with a little bit of a lead, cross heading up just a little bit behind on the elevator. Yeah, I might have mentioned this before, but this also gives me a chance to mention what the categories are for this week. Junie, the higher seed, elected to let Cross Product take the first veto. Cross decided to veto Hundo. And Junie said, okay, let's do GT Classic. So he vetoed all bosses. So we're going to see a lot of, but I've kind of dubbed this Golden Chorizo week because all three categories require you to fight Golden Chorizo. So we're going to see a
Uh,
lot of that this week.
yeah, I guess they do, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's the only week we have that, so I think it's just kind of funny that it worked out that way.
Well, these are the besides RB. I guess I mean RBO technically doesn't require you to kill Golden Chorizo, but these are the only three categories that's actually required to
Yeah,
kill GT.
yeah, I've never seen RBO run not kill GT, but yeah, I mean, I don't technically not required. There are other super missiles you can pick up.
Yeah, one of
We-
the like, you could do early Meridian and then skip that super. It's actually technically a little bit faster if you're comfortable going down to 30 and not 35.
We get our bomb Chorizo fights.
This is definitely one of the bosses that if you play a lot of randomizer can go away
Yep.
very quickly
Oh, for
because
sure.
pretty
Because
much anytime in randomizer you're probably coming in, either don't have morph bombs so he doesn't activate, or you
yep,
have super missiles and you just murder him.
yep, pretty much. Or sometimes you might even have like charge plasma. You can just one shot,
Yeah,
or
when,
the
when
full beam combination, I should say. But yeah.
yeah when I came back to actual speedrun after just playing random for a while, I was like, oh right, this guy, and I had to sit down and play him for a while. So this is going to open pretty similar to most categories. It's going to be kind of like a standard like KPDR opening up until Kraid. The only thing we're going to be missing is I expect them both to skip the charge beam,
Yeah, and they'll
which will
skip.
only be an issue if they're used to doing the charge setup on the Kraid quick kill.
Yeah, they'll likely skip the charge beam. They'll skip those missiles that you usually pick up that are right by the charge beam, and we'll see if they do a 2 missile quick kill setup. You can do a strat without the charge beam to set up the quick kill. Pretty similar, just the timing is a little bit different. Well, I don't know if it's different so much. It's just not as forgiving.
For the missile setup.
No, for the charge beam setup,
Oh,
but you
for the
can do
charge
it.
beam.
You can do it with just your regular beam.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's a pretty common randomizer tactic because you don't always have charge beam when you get into Kraid. But in most of these categories you do. This is like the one exception. But we still get our early supers because we don't want to fight Spore Spawn here.
Yeah, it's interesting that Junie is going with the health preservation strategies here early, not taking the damage to the power. I wonder if that means he's looking to skip the high jump E tank.
Yeah, perhaps.
Because otherwise you would just go straight through because you're going to fill up. You're
Yeah.
able to pick up the Kraid E tank or the high jump E tank and just you'll be at full. So there's really no reason to preserve it right there.
Yeah, and we should mention there is one other major difference. The runners are going to have to go up Red Tower to pick up power bombs because you do need power bombs to get into Lower Norfair.
Oh
So we'll
yeah,
see
that's
that.
right.
You might have seen there are a few runners that do that in Hundo, so they can pick up the Kraid missiles the first time through. And of course, in New Route, you always go up, but that's just to go up fight Fantoon. Okay, Junie skipping the charge beam as expected.
And the missiles.
And the missiles.
Yeah, picking those isn't too bad if you're just like the missile strat, so you can have some extra missiles for Kraid if you're not really trying to push your time. Yeah, it's interesting because there's usually like charge beam strats here to farm these cacks. So it's just interesting that the little you're not without charge for that long, but there's just a couple rooms that become slightly.
Okay, Junie not using the hero shot to get up, although I think you might need to have charge beam without wave beam to do that. So he's just gonna
No,
shoot out the floor.
you,
Yeah, I
you
think you
can
can
make
do
it.
without. It's just harder. The timing is.
Yeah. You got to be basically your X positioning because the charge beam is slightly wider. It becomes a lot more difficult.
Yep.
But it looks like
And
they're both just
Frost
coming
doing the
up here
same.
to blow out the block and then jumping back up. This is way more difficult without high jump. With high jump, it's pretty straightforward. There's a bunch of like
Yeah, there are a
good
bunch of
setups.
ways, a bunch of items that can make this easier. If you already had power bombs, you could just power bomb the rippers. I mean, you could super them, but that's slow and not something that
And
the runners really want to do.
we
And it
definitely
would,
want our supers. Yeah.
if we want our supers, you'd have to farm back up for Kraid. So definitely not. None of those are really good options. And of course, like you said, without high jump boots, it's the timing and the placement's different. So if you're used to doing this jump with high jump, is going to be definitely a more difficult thing.
Yeah, the fact that Junie is trying to grab all this health as possible, I'm kind of thinking they're gonna go straight
Yeah.
to lava dive. Although he's not gonna, maybe not after that.
Yeah. I honestly don't know if he does high jumpless. We'll see. It's a difficult thing to do. That
Yeah,
high jumpless lava dive. I find the regular lava dive pretty forgiving, but although with this E tank count, it's definitely a whole nother beast. But yeah, high jumpless is no joke. That's a hard strat.
yeah. It's not, I haven't even really quite figured it out yet.
Like I know in theory how to do it, but I've never actually executed it or really put much time trying. Ooh, Junie getting grabbed by the yapping maw. It's just shout outs to all be grabbed by all yapping maws RTA.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if he decides to like maybe not. He might stick with not getting high jump, but he may end up picking up like the Kraid tank just
Yeah,
to
if you're
fill
gonna
up since he's taking so much damage.
yeah, if you're gonna skip the Crady tank, that would be sorry. If you're gonna skip the high jump B tank, that's a reasonable one to pick up instead.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna go high jump list, but you still want an extra E tank, I think Kraid is faster at that point. Although I'm not
It
100%. It probably is because you don't have to go all the way down to
the thing
the bottom.
I think the thing that would make it a better choice, like I don't know if it's faster or not, but when you go into that E tank room with the high jump boots, you have to kill the little Nova that's running around. And if you don't kill him right away, then that's just a huge time loss
Yeah,
because
and
you
you're
have to wait for him to crawl all the way around.
you're gonna be killing him without charge too. Usually
Yep.
there's like a charge strat there.
Yep.
But yeah, Junie's health is definitely not in a place you want it to be if you're
No.
looking to not pick up a knee tank here. But the other thing, he could just be thinking he's gonna farm for supers too as well. So he would just get his energy there, and at that point he wants as much health as possible just to make the farm.
Okay, nice 2 missile, 3 super quick kill on Junie's side. Let's see what crossproduct has for us. Crossproduct doing the strat that I was talking about, getting the Kraid to open his mouth with just a shot and then using 4 supers.
Yeah, so this is about where it's gonna get interesting here real quick. We'll see what they decide to skip and what they're playing. I was peeping across the stream right before this, and he was practicing the high jump version, so I fully expect him to go get high.
I feel like high jumpless is something that Cross probably could do, but probably only breaks out in a specific randomizer situation where it might be relevant and give him an advantage. I can't see him doing it in this category.
Yeah, well, especially like in a randomizer situation, you're probably gonna have like at least like 4 or 5 E tanks before you're gonna think about attempting it, because then you're probably gonna be doing the rest of Norfair and you want it.
Right, and also the Varus suit gives you twice as much protection from that lava in a randomizer than it does in a normal vanilla
Oh yeah, I always
situation.
forget about that.